Alright, what's up everybody? So, last night I decided to do something with the Mustang, and what a mess it became. All I went to do was pull everything out to clean it, and put a shift light in it, right? You know, nothing big deal. Also have nitrous on it that I was going to wire up. Well, there's an aftermarket alarm system on here I started to look into and take apart and everything else. I have everything out of it. Everything's just sitting in the seat. Had to pull the console in order to get it, but since mine's got adapters and everything else, it's a whole wiring harness mess. But you get down here, and there was like something stuck right here, and wire going all the way up, and bundles of wires, because these wires right here go to my demo switch and stuff. Follow it down, and then here's your module for the remote start that's never worked since I've had the car, so I always just kept the key or whatever. Well, here's the wiring nightmare that I'm talking about, guys, that you need to look out for. They literally tapped into the ignition system. Okay, now I'll show you how it is. It was wire loomed up with, well, you can kind of see it, this right here. So once you took this loom off, because they had it routed up on the back side of the thing here, they got it all, it's early, guys, but it's fusible links, you know, the whole system's here, but they wired, I'm just aggravated with it, because it wasn't supposed to be like this. Anyway, so it's wire loomed, and then whatever wires they tapped into, they black taped it. So if you look, I already pulled the tape off. On these smaller wires, they soldered it, right? So I have to break the wire apart, cut it off, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But I either one gotta cut the wire and heat shrink it to fix it the correct way, or just take some heat shrink tubing and split it down the side and roll it over and use it. But it's tapped into everything. I didn't want to tap into any wiring, but at this point now my harness has been tapped into. I've already fixed the headlight issue from one of the wrecks I've had, and I've already rewired the mass airflow sensor. So I mean, why not spend my days rewiring every fucking thing? But you know, that's what you look into when you buy stuff from hell, even not just used car lots, or you know, new place in town, or even really a good place to buy them, or a dealership or anything. When you get into messes like this, yeah, sometimes it's hard to see, but you need to be aware of it. You know, you always look at the suspension components, you always look at the tires, you look at the brakes, you test drive the vehicle, you make sure there's no issues. But you know, this stuff's been getting hot. See, my hand's pretty sticky, and so there's no telling. When that truck hit me the first time, I had an accident in this vehicle. The airbags never deployed or nothing. Okay, so what are they tapped into? You know, do they even have the airbag sensors, or yeah, the sensors in here or anything? Like, this is just ridiculous, you know? Like, I don't know how you see how shiny that is. It's all this is why rats and mice get into your vehicles and eat the wiring in your harnesses, because that's peanut oil that they put in the tape and the wire loom and everything else, and the wire sheathing itself, and that's what they chew on. So, you know, it's gonna be a big old day to get all this done, so we'll see, I guess. I'll give you an update. So a minute ago, I told you about wiring mess. Yeah, well, it gets worse. I mean, once I got everything out of the way, and it's probably gonna be hard to see, and I already pulled this one out, but trying to find it. Right. No, if I could get my flashlight. Anyways, yeah, I'll try to get my flashlight. Alright guys, I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe yes, right there. That's your clutch safety switch. Well, they tied into it. They tied into everything underneath. You know, the dash, the ignition. There's one. Those 4 wires. 2 more wires. The OBD2 connector. Then all the way over here, I have it all pulled apart, including the center console. But you come all the way over here, follow the wires back. Get my light in here. And then, well, maybe. Hold on, guys. And then you got the blue wire here that's wired in. And then 2, 4, 5 wires down here. And then another 3 up here. You know, this stuff I'm talking about, it's not worth putting these alarm systems in your car. It's not worth anything to make a wiring mess like this. Understand some people are professional at wiring, understandable, but this is what makes wiring a nightmare for anybody. Because if you don't have a schematic, which I'm gonna have to freaking find one on the internet or buy me a book, a Haynes manual or something for a 2010 Mustang GT, but you don't know where all these go unless you specifically know what part this is. So obviously the ignition column, I can figure out all the wires for the ignition. It's only 2 wires for the clutch switch. You can find the OBD2 connectors, but over here, I'm not entirely sure what's over here. I know I'm in a lot. Freaking aggravated is what it is. But I don't know. I'd have to look it up. I'm not even gonna try to make an assumption of what they are. It just aggravates me when you think you're close to being done and to start something else, and then you run into all this crap. It's just one thing after another. This is why, you know, shops charge, or even a person like me would charge somebody, you know, some money, and you're like, "Oh, you're too expensive," or whatever. Well, this is why it's expensive. This right here, the time it takes to pull everything apart, and then find out what they wired in, whoever. And that's the thing about taking in either a project or somebody else's wiring or anything else. Whether they did a good job or not, that's besides the point. You know, you end up doing this. You know, so now I'm stuck doing all this before I can ever put it back together, before I can have my daily back. This is the type of shit that sucks. So, see what we can do. I'll keep you updated, and I'm sure I'll probably have that light wired in, and I'll probably have the nitrous system wired in. I'll show you guys more about that. Alright, so here it is. You cut any wires to get it out. There's the module, the relay, this would be what sits in the window, so your antenna. There's a 30 amp, 2 30 amp fuses and a 10 amp fuse. It's wired to ignition, yada yada, a few other things, odds and ends. Goes to I have the that was all that came out of there, and I have the remote. Alright, so what's up everybody? Okay. I got the Mustang wired. I got it all done. I'll have to take a video on showing you guys how it came out. It's good. Drove to work. Now it's the end of the day, Tuesday night. So this is the kind of things I've been going over. I said I was going to wire nitrous, and I did. Right now I got a 75 shot in it. I'm just going to go put a 100 shot in it. So, a few things is I'll show you how I wired the nitrous system, and we'll go from there. So this is how I set mine up. I don't know if you can see it. Very simplistic. So I started with a relay. Got 87 pole, a 30 pole, 87A, which I didn't use, 85 and 86. So 85 goes to ground, 30 goes to positive on your battery. Your battery is grounded to the chassis. Okay. 87 goes straight to the fuel and the nitrous solenoids, and then they're grounded. And then 86 goes to a wide open throttle switch or a button. So there's a wide open throttle switch, and then it goes to a 3-way switch or toggle switch, and so it goes in the middle. Then you got a ground on one end, and then you got 12 volt or key on position to arm the switch. If you put it on a button, you just got to wire from the 86 to the button and the button to the ground, and then it's instantaneous when you hit the button. As far as that goes, on the nitrous, this is the jets that I had, 25 shot, 50 shot, and 75 shot. It's an NX Iceman kit for my 3-valve, but it's just a nozzle, it's not the plate system. But you got a 31 fuel, or 18, or oh my bad, 18 fuel and 31 nitrous for 25 shot, 50 shots, 35 nitrous and a 20 fuel, 75 is a 41 nitrous and a 24 fuel. But if you go down here, this is off NX's website, and I went from 35 all the way to 100 or 200 shot, but I was just writing everything down. Right now, at 100 shot, I gotta get a 52 nitrous, a 30 gas, because this is for gas. E85 is a little different, and everything else, and it's at 45 psi, so that's the chart I look for. So it was a 52 and a 30. So I have to get the jets. This is how I wired mine. I'll show you what it looks like afterwards, because it's all wired in. I have it clean, and I have it all hidden and everything else, so it looks seamless. Well, speaking of that, you have thing keeps going off. In order to, I have a, boy, I'm just all over the place, ain't I put a shift light in, and I'm gonna set the shift light to like 6,000 RPM, because the tune I have on the car, it's not a tune for nitrous, it's just tuned for 93. I'm gonna run a colder plug, 1-step colder plug, and I'm gonna run the 100 shot jet. I'm trying to think what I was gonna say, I forgot. Anyways, in order to put the shift light, there we go, into play, I already have it grounded into the power, but you have to, I think it's a white wire on mine, you have to either tap into a coil that's on the engine, which I didn't want to do, or you can tap into the bottom C7 175E connector to the PCM, which is right under the hood, or you go through the fuse blocks or whatever. Anyways, it's coil driver number 1, it's pin number 17 on the PCM, pin 70 or 70 pin connector. It's on the corner of the connector. It's light green with a white stripe for the 4.6. If you have a 5.4, it's a white wire with a purple stripe. Anyways, I found out what I'm going to do is I'm going to depin the connector for, not off the PCM, but for my fuel injector. And I'm going to wire it in with the fuel injector wire. I'm going to repin it and pop it back in place so the connector's not damaged in any way. And if I ever had to take it off or take it out, all I'd have to do is just depin it. Okay, and I'll show you guys more on that. So with the pinning, anyways, everybody likes to splice into stuff. So I designed a what you could call a T-tap, which is just an electrical connector. You got a male end and then a female end. The way I was going to design it is where you could, the reason why it's called a T-tap, and not just because of this is simple female and male connector, but a T-tap, I could draw one out. I made this myself. You know, it's 822, 23. You know, something that I figured companies could probably take on and do. But anyways, a T-tap, what you could do is you could tap in. Basically, you're just putting, it's a female connector on one end, and then your wires can either go through the connector. So you got two different ways. You got like let's see, so it would be a T basically. So one would be female end. I'll just write it out for you. And then you got a male end to tap between the connector. Well, then these is where your wires, whatever wires, however many, it could be pinned. You know, you got different styles. You got factory style, you got custom styles, you got pin-out styles. You know, it's just anybody can patent this. I mean, I wish I could make the money or have the money to patent it. But anyways, so you tie your, let's say, depending on where your pin out goes. Here, this wire would be, let's say, power. One's ground. You know, this could be a pin out for something. That could be a pin out for something, based off the harness that you're working with. So if it's a large harness like a PCM harness or something, it'd have a female end to plug into it, and then a male end on the other side, and then you got all your pins you can tap into. That's why it's called a T-tap. So you don't have to tear up the connectors or the wiring harness for the vehicle. So they're not tearing them up, you know, splicing wires and making a freaking mess. Before I move on, here's your relay. I know I wrote it out. I was just trying to get everybody an idea of what I was talking about, the way they're laid out. For your 30, your 87, your 85, your 87A, and your 86. Anyway, so simple wiring diagrams, you can find them online. I actually found this one. And I kind of use this, and I've been doing a lot of online searching, you know, so I can get a few things. A lot of the stuff, like, guys, I've never used nitrous. Okay, so you know, you get a lot of good and bad. Nitrous is not flammable. Okay, it's not flammable. Yeah, it's just it's not even oxygenated fuel. Trying to find a way to word it. I know what it is. It's just an oxide. It's an oxidizer. Well, what I was getting at is on these three valves, SN95 or SN95, S197s, for the RPM limit, the cutoff. So your rev limiter basically for the factory car. It's not a coil cutoff. It doesn't cut spark. It cuts fuel. So what happens is if you run nitrous and you run it to your factory rev limit or whatever you have set, okay, and you let that nitrous go and you let it bang and you miss a gear and you just hold it, what happens is it cuts fuel. So you're going to either one, lose fuel pressure, or it's going to cut the fuel to the point to where you're going to have nitrous and spark in the cylinder. You're going to have a lot of it because the compression, the ratio goes up, and boom, there you go. So in order to prevent that, I'm going to set my rev limit at 6600, the way I got it set now. And I'm going to set my shift light at 6,000, so that gives me 600 RPM to cover if I do miss a shift or whatever I can get out of it. Try to save it, because I daily this. So it is what it is. You know, I still got to get a few things myself. Like I have different nitrous sheet here and whatnot. You know, it's for Hondas and Acuras and everything else. But one last thing to go over before I show you guys
the car, which is going to take me a couple days to do, so bear with me, and then I'll post a big old video on it all. Yes, I got a carburetor pulled apart here. It's Proform 950, but it's actually 830 CFM. Yeah, it's 950. I have it pulled apart. I'm going to rebuild it, use it for something. Anyway, so fuel. You start running 150 shot or more, which on a stock block isn't good, of like a 200 shot or 175 even. But 125 shot and 150 shot, they want you to run a booster pump. That's the fastest, easiest thing I've seen that Shelby GT500s use it, everything else. They say to use to decrease 2 degrees of timing per 50 shot. Well, mine's tuned, and I have the option to where I can cut 4 degrees total out of timing already. So I'm safe there. I'm gonna pull timing. I'm gonna put 1 step colder plug in them. Well, I may have a dyno tuned. I don't know yet. I have the car dyno tuned on a 93 tune. It made 298 to the wheels and 322 torque. So, you know, I should be coyote territory around that. I gotta get the plugs, like I said. I gotta get a bottle filter, just an inline filter for the nitrous, and the adapter for the bottle. I gotta get the bottle filled, which is 75 bucks. Not a big deal. Probably get about, I don't know, with the 100 shot, probably what, 6 passes. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. You know, 6 to 10, something like that, depending on what I'm doing. I'm also gonna get I don't have it on here, but I'm gonna get a bottle heater, and I'll show you how I'm gonna wire it. And I'm actually gonna use a battery off my little Cobalt over there, and a little $20 adapter, so I can use those batteries, charge them up, and use them instead of running my battery dead. Let's see. You gotta close this gap to like 35 thousandths instead of like, I think it's 50 thousandths right now on mine. And I got new plugs in mine, but still. And then, you know, tuning tips. If you're gonna read your plugs, when you run down the strip, as soon as you get to the end of the strip, cut it off, coast it down, pull plug, check it. You know, look to see if you need to do anything. You know, people don't want to do that. That's why they get a dyno tuned, so the dyno tells all. But it doesn't. It's just another factor in how you decide to tune it, or how you decide to. It's just a tuning tool. A lot of different factors. I know I'm a lot. I'm just tired, guys. I still got to work on the Monte Carlo. Probably gonna put the crappy bracket that I made for the shifter, because I don't have linkage rods, don't have time to make them or nothing. I'm just gonna put it back in so I can drive it, and maybe weld the exhaust, put the exhaust back on it. Trying to think what else to say. I said a lot, but I thought I had more. You know, you guys gotta do your own research. I mean, I ask around, I ask people, you know, I've never ran nitrous. I wanted to know if I can do this, if I can do that. No, I'm not running a purge valve. So what I'm going to do, I have mine wired up to the wide open throttle switch, and then to a 3-way arming switch, basically. So I'll arm it, and then once you put the wide open throttle switch to the floor, well, the pedal to the floor, switch comes on, it's instantaneous. And then when you let off, once the switch clicks, it's off. But at the track, what I'm going to do in the pits, I'm going to start it, let it idle, and then I'm just going to click the switch with my finger and bump it through, and then that'll purge it through the motor, and then I'll be ready to go. So, you know, you guys want some, if you guys have any topics for me to go over or some information, I just do this as I can. Whatever I'm doing or whatever everybody feels fit to do. I'm just trying to show people that you can do certain things. You don't have to have all this money in here. You know, you don't have to have a lot of things, but you know, knowledge is power sometimes. So you guys got anything you want me to go over or review or talk about, just let me know, and I'll do my best on whatever it is that you guys are wanting to learn about. But until next time, I'll see you guys later. Like, subscribe, and comment.
What's up, guys? So as you can tell, I don't feel that great. I'm gonna try to go to work. This is day 3 on this. I don't know how well you can see all this. I have my shift light and my nitrous all wired up. I'm gonna show some more on this too. Show it all clean. Anyways, it's my nitrous solenoids. I got it running through the intake. It's not plumbed all the way, but it's there. There we go. Nitrous nozzle. Anyways, I have it all clean. It's all hooked to a relay. Right there on the back. It's all tucked. Nice and neat. You wouldn't even be tell once you really look at it. I figured I'd show that to everybody. I put the dash back together. Kind of cleaned it up. It's hard to see because I don't have the center console back in it yet. All that stuff's back there still, my side panels, everything else. But I drive it to work like this. It's dark. Hold on, guys. I'll turn the flashlight on. I didn't even realize. Anyways, there we go. A little better. If I get you some video in the daylight. Everything's all cleaned up. I finished all the wiring. That took me the longest. I mean, it's basically just clean, plug and play, the rest of it. But getting ready to go to work. As you can tell, just got everything finished up this morning, but I know I'm kind of like pan hardened. Anyway, so I had to dig out my doors. This is everything I done while wiring, and had to redo my drive again. Not all of it, but I got a good portion of it. And then still gotta dig me a line. But as you can tell, I cleaned half this bay out, and I still got junk laying around and dirt. All this dirt is when it flooded. And it was mud. It washed all this out and all the way through the back here. So now I gotta finish that. But I'll keep you guys updated. Alright, whatever. What's up, everybody? So Saturday afternoon. So it's been basically the end of the week. So I got the nitrous finally wired and everything else. Got a shift light on here. I'll put the key in the ignition real quick. I'll show you guys. Turn that off because I pushed up my battery. Anyway, shift light's on now. Turn the key on. Turn arming switch on. Boop. Which it's all hidden. Which one thing I gotta do, I can't even see it in here, is clean some wiring up. But on the outside, if you were to come around, I'll show you. You know, it's all be, you know, it's not secretive, but I just wanted to clean. Got it all hooked up to a relay. The wiring's all fed through the wire loom, all the way out the back. Obviously, there's my one solenoid for the nitrous, and grounded, etc. Goes all the way over. And let me just sit you down for a second. I know, nice cap look, huh? Let's put this back on, which I just got screwed on. And yes, it's filthy, which I don't care. I got some clips of a Mustang RTR too from work. Anyways, when you put the cover back on, just like looks like a plain Jane 4.6 liter. Let's see if I can get you in here. I did a coil tap, but I actually depinned it. And for you Mustang guys that need to know, if you tap the coil, it's on the right hand side. I went off the #1 plug, and my shift light's an old school, it's a Raptor shift light, but it's discontinued. So it's got like the dials on the side where you set the thousands and hundreds RPM, and then you have to set it for whatever you did. So I set mine up
that's all down on the bottom, all three little prongs, and it's because it's going off one cylinder. But anyways, still got to hook the nitrous up to the nozzle up to the intake, but I'll do that later. But you come back, and I have NSX fuel block. It's all, you know, I cleaned it up. It's all back there. It comes back through. It goes back through the firewall, which I got a grommet plug. Anyways, it looks clean. You're not gonna notice it right off the bat. It's kind of your sleeper look, but that's what I'm doing, you know, on a rainy Saturday day. Next, I think about bringing that in. Maybe either one, get the exhaust on, or the shift linkage figured out. But just so you guys know, that's what's going on. There we go. But stay tuned. I gotta get interior shot. It's hard to see in my phone. I got Recaro seats. The buckets. Comes down. You're fine, brother. Whole bunch of stuff up there. Go down. Show the GT500. What's up, man? Doing the same thing? Or just taking pictures? All channel. And then back to the RTR. Footage of some RTRs. It's black and red. There's quite a bit of few things here. Got the Mustangs, blue RTR, there's Bronco, a couple other Mustangs, high piece of shits down there, Jeeps, some trucks.